Good morning. Good morning. Sorry for the delay. I apologise for that. We had a bit of a panic station on this morning. Just trying to get the live feed up now. I'm late. Late as usual, I suppose. Only by a couple of minutes, but how late is that? I don't know. Let's turn the volume up. There we go. There we go. Not sure we've got anybody waiting, but I'm late this morning. It's what's the time now? The time check is 8 minutes late. So annoying. We've got 5 live viewers. Good morning, Gareth. How's it going, bud? Look at the state of me. Well, it's all been panic stations here this morning. I got up this morning and I had to go to get some plumbing done because we've got a leaky radiator. And when I come back, there was an ambulance on the driveway. So it's all been a bit of a panic, but it's absolutely fine now. It's all okay. So all is good. We still got the ambulance here now at the moment. It's for my grandson. Yeah, it's okay though. We're all in a good place. Got 15 live viewers anyway. Well, Saturday morning live. I'm a little bit shocked this morning to come back and see an ambulance on the drive. Thanks for calling. I was going to have a shave this morning and get on with it. Leaky pipe, leaky radiator. Never had the parts down in B&Q, and then on top of it, I get slated off for a cross joint from 16 years ago. A cross joint 16 years ago. Let's get the live stream up. Let's have a look now and see if we can get the live stream up so we can actually see what people are saying. I haven't got my glasses. I'm totally disorganised this morning, disorientated, not in a good place because it's all panic stations. There we are, 17 watching. Not in a good place because it's all panic. Turn the volume down. There we go. I can see what people are saying. Good morning, Gareth Williams, John Ward, Dave Jones, Jem. Good to see you. Listen, as you join the live stream, what you normally do is give it a like, say who you are and where you're from. We're building a community and we're building it with you guys. And we're all talking to each other. We're all helping each other. As you notice, the title this morning is Don't Wash Your Clothes in Public Like Harry and Meghan. Now, I haven't done that for clickbait this morning, but the reason I put that title is because this morning I reacted to somebody's comment about a cross joint they seen on a short video probably about 16, 17 years ago. Let's just clarify one thing. We should never wash our clothes in public. And by that I mean is that we don't argue. It's not a good thing to do. It's no good arguing with people. Restore the saw. Morning, John and chat. There we are. That's how it's done. John Ward, 16 years. I can't remember what I'd done last week. Yeah. John, it was a cross joint that was in the patio. It was on a short video. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's where I've got the pups playing, the pups that my dogs had, and somebody had noticed a cross joint. And I reacted. Okay, I've reacted to somebody's comment, and I actually, in a public place, I called them pathetic and I called them a keyboard warrior. They haven't got nothing better to do. It always goes back to whether it's a cross joint or whether it's anything else. Hit the like, says Chris Starkin. Whether it's anything else, it's just the fact that people, have to say things and I shouldn't react to it. So I think Gareth up in Manchester, Hulk, actually seen it. He's seen my response. And I was a bit annoyed. I woke up this morning and somebody saying that I was always, let's use the word what they said, I was slagging other contractors off for using cross joints. I never slag anyone off. I think that's an absolute grotesque word and a word that I would not use on a regular basis. And I'm using it now just to quote this viewer. It said that I slagged other viewers off, which I don't do. If you ain't had a cross joint creep into your work over 20 years, you ain't done any work. No one is perfect. John, the fact is that I never, honest mate, I never even knew what a cross joint years ago. Nobody ever told me what a cross joint was until I opened this YouTube account. Look at the state of me. I'm looking at it on the live screen this morning. John, it's been absolute chaos this morning. Went out, had a leaky radiator last night, and then I had to go out and get a fitting this morning. I got it this morning and the water was just sort of going everywhere in the radiator in the downstairs toilet. It's a good job that we have tiles all the way through the house. But I was putting my thumb on the end, but there was hot water coming through. The heating had come on. Mario Ritchie, good to see you. And then when I went to B&Q to get a part, they didn't have really the parts I was looking for. And then when I come back, there was an ambulance on my drive, and my grandson hasn't been very well. So, but it's all good, okay? It's not panic. I'm not doing it for a reaction. I'm not doing it in that respect. Andrew, good to see you, bud. Nice to see you. Andrew there at Ace and C Groundworks and Garden Maintenance there down in Devon. Jem says, if that's all they can do, dig up on you, mate, you can sleep easy. Haters gonna hate. Yeah. Do you know, the thing is, you see, Jem, I reacted towards it, you know, a little bit. I called him pathetic. How bad is that when you wash your clothes in public by arguing and going on with it? I'm not quite sure. I think other people see it for what it is. I'm not quite sure what you actually think of it, or whether I went too far by calling him pathetic. And should I have called him pathetic? Rob Fry joined us this morning. Chris Stocking says, hit the likes. That's what we want. Hit the likes. So we've got 16 live viewers. We've only got 8 likes. So get on there. Give it a like. Mario Ritzy, good to see you. We were going to put a search party out for you, mate. We wanted to know where you were. Fair play for carrying on, Johnny. I appreciate it. No. Listen. The show goes on. I've actually just said to the 2 paramedics and their 2 ambulance ladies that I did make them a cup of coffee and a cup of tea with a sweetener, one with black coffee. And I did say to them that I had to do a podcast and they wanted to know what we were doing. It'd be great to actually add them on the podcast this morning. Why not? Hey, it's all about communities. 15 likes, 8 likes, 15 viewers. Let's get it on here now. So the title this morning was Don't Wash Your Clothes in Public Like Harry and Meghan. It's just an example. It's not clickbait. We shouldn't do it. It's not the right thing. And unfortunately, I feel a little bit annoyed with myself because I responded, Gareth has seen it up there in Manchester, I responded to somebody saying, it wasn't the fact about the cross joint, it was just that it said I was slagging other landscapers off. I don't slag anybody off. If I really wanted to sort of, you know, go to town on people, I would bring their names into it, and I just don't do it. I've seen lots of work over the years, and I shared the work and the places where I've gone and the things that I've done, but I've never ever named and shamed anybody at any point whatsoever. John Wood says, my wife rings my lads up direct to the jobs. She's sick of waiting for me, lol. Yeah, absolutely. I know you feel that, John. Mary says, morning, mate. Good to see you. Paul Goodchild, mum and me last two Tuesdays, bathroom and kitchen flooded out after a hot pipe came loose. We got cheap lino in the bathroom. I bought wet and dry vac, so it happens again, can suck it up quickly. Yeah, that's it. It's about being prepared. John Ward says, glad grandson is okay. Heart in mouth stuff, and makes you realise there is more to life. Yeah, it is. For me to come back there, John, and see an ambulance on the drive, and on the way down to where I live, a friend of mine who lives up the road, who's in the garden, I stopped and I had a quick chat to him, literally 2 minutes, and he said, there's an ambulance just gone down there, blues and twos. And I said, oh, okay, like, you know, never thought nothing of it. And then when I come down, it was on my drive. It was on my drive, the ambulance. There you go, there it is. Gareth Williams says, I made a short TikTok and I clip of about 20 jobs of my apprentice. Had laid 3 flags and cross joints on it, and I got the haters. Yeah, you do. Not good at all. The thing is, you know, it's so easy. It's so easy to actually comment on anybody's mistake, isn't it? You know, and I don't know what the benefits they actually have by actually commenting the way that they comment. Is like as if they want to shame you and bring you down and put you in a bad place. That they must get a kick from it. You know, the fact still remains that the reason that I started this YouTube account was to actually learn from. It wasn't just about me saying you guys are going to learn from me. I'm going to learn from you, and I've learned loads. I was a Marshall's approved contractor many years ago, and no one ever told me what a cross joint was. Never knew what it was. A cross joint is not even a British standard. It's just a preference, you know, and it does happen occasionally with some people. I try to avoid it myself simply because it just causes problems with people. Please explain what a cross joints are. There we are. There we are. Hi, John. How's it going? Yeah, don't worry, mate. They get their kicks from it. Yeah, they do. Mario, cross joint is normally, this is the thing. When you're laying just 2x2s, you can have the patterns and you just have all those repeated cross joints because it all looks the same. But when you're having a random pattern, they don't like to see 4 corners of a slab, of individual slabs, meeting at a cross. So you're having those 4 corners, and they feel that it looks unsightly, and you'll have some people saying it's a weak spot, which I beg to differ. it may be, but I don't think it's going to be detrimental to your patio. It's not a good thing at all. So once again, welcome to Saturday Morning Live. Today the podcast is supported in some respect by Ruby Tools. Ruby Tools, Dave Honeywell, who's the MD. I've been speaking to Dave on a regular basis. He's a great guy, great company, and I've been chatting to him, and I give him some feedback about how things are happening for me and what I would like from suppliers and manufacturers to sort of make my life a little bit easier. And the thing is, they want to know. So, guys, please, this is where we have an opportunity on this podcast to actually have an opinion and where people can actually see. So if you've got any opinions and things that you feel should change in the industry, now is the time to voice it, because people can actually see what you're saying. Rob Fry say it's more aesthetic a thing, I think, in slabs. Yeah, absolutely it is. You're right, absolutely, 100%. I actually understand it now, and I get it. It's not, I don't think it's a good thing. I sort of understand it, but the patio I laid here, it wasn't even done by me. It was done 16, 17 years ago, and somebody picked up on it. And it was a video about showing my pups and what I do and what I am as a person. I like to share with you guys what I do personally on, not everything. I'm not Kim Kardashian, but I want to share things with you and show you what I'm about and what I do. And, it's those little things that sort of help to sort of be relevant, because you'll all have dogs, you'll all do the things that I do, go out for walks, and we'll have something in common. That's the thing. So I'd like to share those things with you. Can't be weak spot that the force is down, not across, says Rob. There we are. It's funny, Rob, what people come back to as Jem says, when the pattern is simply rows, the job is full of cross joints. Doesn't make it weak. No, absolutely, I totally agree. Stan there in Aberystwyth. Morning, Johnny boy from Aberystwyth. Good to see you, bud. Yeah, is the sun out? It was out earlier on. It's really, really white. What? It's really white here this morning. John Ward said it's for cosmetic reasons and laying. There we are. Absolutely perfect. Now we've got that off and got it off my chest this morning. Justin's there, Brick Right Landscaping. Wrap up or keep warm. Good morning. Yeah, we need to wrap up. Do you know how many of you guys actually have smart meters and actually watch your meters on a regular basis? How many of you watch your meters and see what's actually happening? I've got a friend up the road, Chris, and he's a cracking guy. He's so funny, and he's financially he's in a good place, but he watches every penny. And in his kitchen, but to be fair, he's always out running, always out walking, always out on his motorbikes, always out when he had his dogs, walking his dogs. But in his corners of his kitchen, he's got a little table, he's got a beautiful kitchen, it's a beautiful house, and then he's got a chair there, and underneath the chair there's a little mat, just a square mat on his tile floor where he can keep his feet warm. He uses very, very little energy, and I'm going to tell you, actually, he uses about £44 a month, and it's a big house. The savings he's making is must be incredible. So a big shout out to Chris up there up the road, and I know that he watches it now and again. Rob Fry says, good morning, Justin. There we are, talking to each other. Any more thoughts on training days at Style? Well, what we've done, Mario. Oh, good morning, Carl. How's it going, mate? Just to see you on there. Mario, what we've done, we've arranged with Bal a training day up in Stoke-on-Trent. There is a training day in Stoke. It's in the Midlands, and I think it's a good centre place, maybe for Manchester, Liverpool, Yorkshire, the East Midlands, and even from Wales, where we can actually meet. And if you want to meet up and have a night out there, and we all could go maybe for a steak or some food, and we can have a drink and go and see what Bal has to say for the day. It may be a benefit of you, for you. I'd love to have one at Styled, but it'd be good to sort of maybe get up to Bal as well, and we can do things in different places to try and help people. Morning, Rob. Hope all is well. It'd be good to get Justin up there and maybe have a cold beer or a steak with him the night before. John Ward says, morning, Justin. Gareth Williams says, has anyone been able to work this week? Well, Gareth, I've been able to get on myself. I don't know about anybody else, and that's a good question that Gareth puts out to all of you. Has any of you actually made any productivity this week? Any progress? Remember, it's Saturday Morning Live. This is what we do every Saturday. We come together as landscapers, contractors, consumers, whatever you are, up and down the country, wherever you are in the world, and we get together and we share opinions and talk to people. And you watch me getting fidgety on this seat because I'm talking to you. I'm dying for a cup of tea, and I don't know whether the ambulance has gone now or not, but whether Alison is watching now, whether she wants to make me a cup of tea and bring one in, it'd be absolutely fantastic. John Ward says, hang on, I've got an opinion. Just need to ask my wife what it is. Don't you love it? Don't you just love it when people come out? John Ward says, hang on, I've got an opinion. I just need to ask my wife what it is. Brilliant. Chris Stocking says, one apple tree pruned this week, lol. One apple tree. Hey, Chris, tell us a little bit about apple trees. This is a thing that we try to cover on a regular basis, but it's such a big topic, the landscaping, these podcasts, what we do on a regular basis. It's, you know, we got loads of topics and conversation. This is what we do. We title it in some way, and we talk about that, and we'll probably come back to it at a later date. But also we talk about lots of other things. This is what we do as a community. Hey guys, listen, 23 live viewers, only 12 likes. Come on there, 24 live viewers now. Give it a like. These podcasts are getting up there, getting out there, and we're getting the views later on, and we're getting the watch time. The watch time is that so important. So just give it a like this morning, guys. Come on. If you're enjoying the live feed this morning, let's just get back and give some comments. John Ward says, and I'll repeat what he said because I think it's really funny there. He says, hang on, I've got an opinion. Just need to ask my wife what it is. Love it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Apple trees. Chris Stocking's talking about apple trees. What are you guys doing in your garden at the moment? Is there anything, Chris, that we can do in our garden? Rob Fry says, good for a centre point. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything, Chris, anything else that we can be doing in the gardens this week when it's cold like this? Obviously, the trees are still in their dormant period, I believe, at the moment, Chris. Be good to hear from you. Justin Brickwright says, being off a lot due to rain, then cold, cost us a lot of money and loss of schedule. Blue sky and sat at home. Difficult time of year, Mr. Roberts. Yes, it is. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts. Oh, look, we've had some pictures come this morning. Normally what we do on a Saturday morning, I'm back. I need a shave. Hey, it's been chaos here this morning. We've had the ambulance here this morning, but it's all good now. Normally on a Saturday morning, I've lost my train of thought now at the moment. Read what Justin's absolutely right. I mean, productivity is down, and certainly with me, is that I have been turning up. I have been doing little bits and pieces, cleaning up, tidying up, and putting things where they should be, putting things where they shouldn't be. We've dug off the next phase of the project, which was the driveway. We've dug off the driveway. We've introduced type 1. We've compacted it levels, but I've waited for it to thaw out before, wait for the sun to get on it for it to thaw out. Chris Stocking says, hard prune them in winter. We're talking about apple trees now. Apple trees, not our wives. Chris says, hard prune them in winter before spring. Then when the sap begins to rise, only supposed to remove 25% of the canopy, but easier said than done when they've been left and overgrown. Do you know, Chris, I love your response there to what you're saying about apple trees there, because it gives us a lot of information. Just going to read what Chris says. Chris said that this week he's been pruning apple trees, or one apple tree, I'm not quite sure, but he says certainly now at the moment is they're in their dormant period, and he says now is the time to hard prune in winter before spring when the sap begins to rise. Only supposed to remove 25% of the canopy, but easier said than done when they've been left to grow overgrown. Love it, Chris. What else, Chris, can we do in the garden this week with our other trees or shrubs? Or we've got to watch those perennial bulbs that are coming up now in my border now. We've got to watch when we're walking around, looking at those trees. Think about what you're walking on. You don't want to destroy it. Gareth Williams, big thumbs up by Rob there. Gareth Williams says, I couldn't even get my MOT out of the bag. It's frozen solid. Yeah, it is. It is, Gareth. When ours come, it was the top part, the crust. And then when we did some edging curbs this week, we got them in place. We were okay. We had that opportunity where everything is thawed out. It was all nice and soft. The sun was out, and we got something done. You've got to be really, really careful. John Ward talks about this on a regular basis. Don't compromise your work for a couple of days because you're going to have to go back and put it right. You really got to think about what you're doing. And certainly you can't compact at levels if your MOT is actually hard and frosted. It's no good at all. So you've got to wait for it to thaw out. And you do have those spells during the day where the sun will get on it and it does thaw out. Sam O'Connor, morning Johnny boy. All I've done this week is my tax return. You must be earning some because it's taken all week. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, for everybody this time of the year. It's a difficult time of the year anyway with the winter and people doing the tax returns. Things aren't so busy for some, and then we still have to pay our taxes. Listen, before we go any further, really now, honest, please send me some photos in. The number to send the photos in on WhatsApp is 07795 595 994. That is my number. There it is there now, so you can send some photos in. It'd be good to see what you're doing this morning. We've had a couple come in this morning. Let's get some more photos. I want to know what you're doing. You know what I'm doing this morning. I'm here, sat here, talking to you guys here. I think the 2 paramedics are on their way in a moment. My grandson had to be seen this morning, not well, but anyway, that's another story. John Ward says, stopped outside, worked, no good for us, but lucky we can concentrate on interior steel indoors. John, I would love to see that, a picture of you and the boys. We've got some more pictures coming in this morning. Please send me a picture of where you are this morning. I know where you are around the world and what you're doing, whether you're not working, whether you're sat in front of the fire in your underpants like Mario Rizzi and Justin as well, sat in the warm there. And good idea, actually, to be honest. Mario Rizzi says, every called me 2 weeks ago to help them carry carries up a parcel deliveries, £2 parcel, couldn't not say no. Hi Mario, I'm not quite sure what that says, mate. I don't know if it's my eyesight or what, but just do it, it'd be great. Chris Stocking says most deciduous trees and hedges best pruned in winter months, easier to manage before the leaves come. Roses are also pruned. Total Lawn have a special winter feed we can apply, but not in the frost. Total Lawn, never heard of it. I know the Scots have. That's, do you know, Chris, I really value that. I'm going to read that out again because it's good information. Because you think, look, 17 likes, love it now this morning. You think that as a landscaper it's all about the paving, but it's not. It's good to understand those trees and recognise and identify those trees because it puts you in a good place. It puts you in a position of being a professional and a person that knows what you're talking about. You need to learn, and we never stop learning. So read what Chris there says, Chris Stocking, he says, most deciduous trees and edges best pruned in winter months. There we are. That's simple. Easier to manage before the leaves come because you can see what you're actually doing. Roses also hard pruned. Total Lawn have a special winter feed we can apply, but not in the frost. Chris, can you also say to us and help us in respect of where we should be doing that pruning? Above a knot where a branch is coming off, or below it, above it or below it, and how far? I would like to know, and whether it changes with varieties of trees. Love this morning because we're diversing it, aren't we? We're helping people to think about what they're doing. We call ourselves landscapers, but landscaping is about horticulture as well. We're scaping the lands, shaping the future, shaping the scene for our customers and ourselves. Stan says smash the thumbs button, like button. Yeah, absolutely, get on it. 24 live viewers. Cracking live feed this morning because you're making it, because you're feeding me, you see, and I'm able to talk about things. Justin from Brickright says, always sat in my pants, John. Just don't, whatever you do, don't send a picture of you sat in your pants. I don't want to see it. And it's about time that you and I had a cup of coffee sometime and got together. You're a great guy. You've always supported me. You're always there. You're decent. And I know you, and I really regard you as my friend because I know that you're there when needed. You know, you're there when you need me. I really appreciate it. New Views Landscaping. Morning, bud. Don't know what's happening in my screen this morning. Going to try and clean that off. It's a bit blurry this morning. I don't know what's happening there. New Views Landscaping. Morning, bud. Good to see you. don't know where you're calling from this morning. It's good to know where people are calling from. I want to know about you guys. It's Saturday Morning Live with Johnny Boy. The title this morning was "Don't Wash Your Clothes in Public Like Harry and Meghan," but it's not. I never use that as clickbait. I actually reacted this morning to a keyboard warrior, and I got a bit annoyed, and I called him pathetic. How bad is that? Because he said I was slagging other landscapers off for doing cross joints. I've never done that, ever, never. That's not factually correct. If you're watching this morning, you are wrong. Okay, you are wrong. Was it annoying? Yeah, it was annoying. Have I got over it? Of course I have. Chris Stocking says, and of course, winter months are great for moving dormant plants around so they won't get stressed. Thanks, Chris. I actually shifted a tree, and Alison wasn't impressed about me shifting a tree because she liked it, but it was in the wrong place, and we had to make that decision and actually moved it. It was an Acer Sagazuki, and it's a beautiful tree. The leaf change is absolutely incredible, and it was on the corner of the house, Chris, and I had to move it. It had to be done, so I did it in late November. That was done in late November. So, Chris, I really appreciate all the feedback you're giving now at the moment because people are learning from it. Jem says, can any contractors recommend a decent gazebo so I can crack on in the bad weather? Rock awnings, Jem. You need to phone up Rock Awnings. Speak to Graham there. You'll get 10% discount if you mention me. Rock Awnings. I'm not getting paid to say that. They did give me an awning a long time ago, about 4 years ago, but I always recommend them. They're always a good company. So get on there, Jem. Rock Awnings. Mention Johnny Boy and you'll get it. 18 likes, 23 live viewers. And Stan says, Gardens Wolves had an episode where they showed how to graft an apple trees. One man had 50 plus varieties and one apple tree. Going to test this for a new customer. 3 kids, 3 of their favourite tastes. Yeah, do you know, we should start appreciating the animal and I mean the plant life a little bit more. Pruning cuts a few centimetres above the union, as he calls it, the union, where it branches off. Stay perpendicular to the joint. Perpendicular to the joint. Perps, like brickwork, should ideally be removed a third of the branch, 25-30% of the branch, get those trees down. It's great when you're able to actually start to understand that. Everybody watching this live podcast this morning will take something from what Chris has said, okay? It's a valid opinion, it's a professional opinion. He's given us good advice and we can start to understand it. New Views Landscaping says, Jem, rock awnings are good. Robert Beattie, hey John, late morning, measuring up my biggest landscaping job to date as we speak in the freezing cold. Sharpen your pencil, bud. Make sure you do all your maths and just get it right. And thanks for sharing that this morning, Robert Beattie. I really appreciate it. You know, wherever you are across the country, let me know. I'm gonna get the number up on here again. Please, 07. Let's do it again. 07795 595 994. There's the number. Get rid of that. There's the number. You can see where it is. Send me some pictures of where you are across the country. I want to know what you're doing. And let's get on with this live stream. John Ward says, no, let's go back. Many thanks. Rob B. Justin from Brickwright, he's back again in his underpants, sat in the fire. He set, I think Mario Rizzi set a trend, isn't he, about sitting and watching the live stream in their underpants. John Ward, Justin says rather, same goes here, John. You helped me a lot. No, I didn't help you. We're mates. Help me a lot and goes round, comes around. Great not to feel alone. Good community with help and people. Definitely a coffee soon. Coffee and probably a breakfast or a pastry, a Danish pastry. John Ward says, office work and tax are. Bring back the good old days working on GHE tools. No, what's GHE tools? I'm lost. Do you know, sometimes I read these things, I'm doing these podcasts, and things don't just resonate with me straight away, and I just don't understand what's going on. Sam O'Connor says, Johnny Boy, I've got a big Acer. It needs a big cutting back. When is the best time to prune? Chris Stocking says, sorry, not perpendicular, parallel. Thanks, Chris. Sam O'Connor's got a question on there. When's the best time for cutting back? It's now. Now's the time in the winter, Sam O'Connor. This is what Chris was talking about. He says, I've got a big Acer. It needs a big cutting back. And he said, Chris says only about 25%, 30%, 30%, 25%, and think about where you're cutting back to, okay? He calls it the union, go back to the union. And Chris, what did you actually say again? I don't want to go back and see what, it is on there, about how far above the union, and it should be a parallel cut. Isn't there something, Chris, about cutting, or whether you should cut out a 45 to let the water run off rather than parallel if it sits on the top? And that's what I was interested to know, Chris, if you just let me know. Do you know what I mean? When you're cutting above that union, whether it should be a parallel, if it's parallel, or should be horizontal rather, or whether it should be at a 45 to let the water run off instead of sitting in the end grain. Rob Fry says, I think I'm going to do a granite set rumble strip to my drive. Any thoughts? Yeah, just need to bridge bond them, I think, with the granite and string line it all the way across. It's hard to do, but you need joints in between it, and probably use a flow point product after, Rob. Always happy to talk to you, mate, if you want. And if anybody else has got any opinions on that, just let us know. Darren Clay's joined us. Good morning, Darren. Where are you from? What are you doing? Justin says, I bet you've loved the office, John Ward, this winter. Hard for you, off the tools, but good health, mate. Justin, my lads, and the humping steels indoors like outside. Thought so. My problem is office arse. Lol. Yeah, brilliant. There we are. Husband for hire. He's retracted his message there. I don't know why. Husband for hire. Good morning, bud. Wearing the umbrella hat as well, says Jem. Yeah, the umbrella hat in your. Do you know this is getting a bit bad now? Let's get back on track. Get a good cushion for the coffee as well, John Ward. Mike Stapleton's joined us. Mike, good morning. Watching from cold and frosty Monmouth this morning. Good to see you, Mike. Yeah, it is. It's a white one, and the frost is really permeated down because of all that wet weather. Everything's frozen hard and solid. What are you doing at the moment to stay busy with your work? And do you catch up and get on it? It's a difficult thing, isn't it, when we do what we do, because we have to, it's like spinning plates and juggling all the time to try and keep the churns of the wheels of our business rolling on all the time. But the good thing is inflation has come down a little bit, and as there's been a rise in the market in respect of trade, it's going on there. So things are looking okay. But the weather is against us. But it's the winter. It's what we do. We should be prepared for this. This is the thing. A lot of people, let me just point out, a lot of people will say to me, John, you talk about the weather and everybody's struggling, but should they or should they not be prepared for this? When you've had years in this business, you know, you can be prepared for it, because you build up, you know, your treasure chest, the money that you need to survive during these tough times. Because certainly I probably haven't done 50% of the work down on productivity, 50% down at least. It has to be, okay, for a lot of people across the country. It's difficult to quantify depending on where you are in the country. When you look at some of those guys up there in Scotland, and even those guys in America, where, you know, they have massive problems with the winter, and they have to think about pushing snow in the winter. That's how bad it is. Should we be prepared? John Ward, Justin, and you're on here, and Mario Rizzi and Jem, you know, Rob Fry. Should we be prepared, whether we're contractors or not? And we should be prepared for these winter periods by making sure we got that treasure trove, and we got a little bit of money put to one side to help us to get through it. We've got to think about it. What we sow today, we reap the benefits at a later date. Mike Stapleton's joined us. Yes, you're right, 45 degrees away from the bud on bigger trees. You're following the direction of the branch grows from the union, sending photos. Brilliant. Do you know, I love this, seeing the pictures. Chris Stocking has massively, do you know, the other week we actually had this bottle of red we're going to send to James. I haven't sent it out at the moment because his contribution. Chris, I'm going to send something out to you at some point. You're going to have to send me your details, because your contribution this morning is second to none. You're on there, you're supporting. He says Yes, you're right, 45 degrees away from the bud. But on bigger trees, you're following the direction of the branch growth from the union, sending photos. Good to see. I want to see some photos from you guys across the country. I start off this live feed this morning, probably not necessarily on the negativity, but just certainly to let you know what's going on with me and with this channel and how I deal with things. And I reacted this morning. I called somebody pathetic for actually saying that I was slagging customers off, but I wasn't. And I felt then, though I only used the word pathetic, I felt that I was breaking into an argument in a public place. Hence the title, Don't Wash Your Clothes in Public Like Harry and Meghan. It's not a good thing to do. And that's what we shouldn't do as contractors. We shouldn't slate off other contractors when we give quotes and, you know, certainly not in a public demeanour, okay, in a public place. What we need to do, we need to remain professional. And when we meet up, we can talk about things, we can share things. If we want to talk and name people, we can name people, I suppose, if we're having a private conversation, but it's not good to do it on social media. So if you're a keyboard warrior, think again, because the community on this channel don't necessarily tolerate those sorts of things. It's not just about me, it's about other users of this channel that support this channel in one way or another. Sick of lies. How's it going, bud? From sunny Scotland, you're up in sunny Scotland. How's it going? Good to see you this morning. It's great to see you on here. He's one of our regulars on here, and you'll see if you're new to these live streams this morning, it's funny, like when we look at 19 live viewers at the moment, we were at 25 at one point, and things drop off for a while because certainly is when we're doing these podcasts, it's difficult to actually stay on track and talk about one particular topic in conversation, because everybody will talk about lots of things and they will have questions. Justin says, difficult one as the lads need the money, so tend to work in bad weather as much as possible to keep the money coming in for Fraser and Jay. Your thoughts? Yeah, I agree with you, Justin. I'm like you. All we got to do, Justin, is think about. Signal looks really bad this morning, which is a shame. I don't know why, whether it's just the signal. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll have a look a little later on. But it'll stay on there. You can hear it. You can see the opinions on here. Yeah, but I agree with Justin. I got to keep going and I got to keep ploughing on. But there are things that we can do in the day, and we just need to protect what we're doing, and we need to quarantine things. But John Ward's talked about this so many times. There's nothing worse than actually going back. I'm just going to show you. This is a stick that we're going to be using soon. There's copious amounts of footage on here with some Ruby cutting products. Big massive thanks to Ruby for the support they're having. Those TVA little blades are absolutely brilliant. I mean, they've saved me a few times this week because I had to put hot water into the reservoir because the water was frozen, so we had to break that down, and sometimes you can't always use the machine. Jem says, keyboard warriors comment like they are all perfect. They are not. There are many shortcuts in life, but no shortcut to experience. Great words. Great words, love it. Sick of Life says, Alison and everyone, good morning. Mario Ritchie says, in the winter we subsidise the business by going out delivering parcels. That's what he does. Yeah, great, love it. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. It's about surviving. Where was you last week, Mario? We was all worried about you. Yeah, we were worried about you. Alison said to me, she said, where's Mario? We haven't seen Mario for some time and we need him back on here. Look, guys, it's a great live feed this morning. We're on 40 minutes. We're going to stay with this for a while. We've been talking about a number of things this morning, but I want your opinions on things. Chris Stockings on here again. Look at him. He's just there. Let's just have some opinions, conversations, questions. Let's just fire away. If there's something that you feel really awkward that you want to talk about, let's just do it. Just do it now. There's no problem at all. Let's just get something on here now. It's so important. Not because we're not having content. I want to hear from you. I want to try and drag that out of you and talk about things a little bit more. If you've got any opinions on what we can do in the future and what we can talk about, it'd be great to have a live stream in the studio where we can demonstrate some stuff. But I was going to get the hole drilled this week for the Ethernet cable, but I've got a leaky pipe. I've had the ambulance here this morning for my grandson. They're still here now. Still here now. I haven't looked at it, but he's okay. Chris Stockett says, thanks, Johnny. Love seeing different parts of the industry come together as we all chip in on advice in landscapers. Trees and plants, a massive architectural part of the garden and landscape. Yeah, massive part. And even if you were a hard landscape specialist, it's good to even just put a plant in a pot and give it to your customer as a present. Maybe a couple of bay trees outside your front door. They will absolutely love it. I know they're expensive, but try and work it in on the job and do it at the end of the job. Hey, what a great idea for all of you at the moment is that that's great to get repeat work, something that their customers don't expect. When you finish the job and you finish that driveway, you give them one plant or two plants in the front area, and whether they like it, whether they keep it, I don't know, whether they don't like plants, whether they want to maintain it or not, but the thought that it counts. Mario says he was out delivering parcels. Good for you, Mario. You just be careful on the road, bud, for all of us. Watch in the afternoon, not as enjoyable as the live feed. It's not enjoyable because you're not on there. John Ward says, if you solely do outside work, expect it, but it's the uncertainty of how many days you will lose. Yeah, it is. Think of now for next year when you're thinking about what you're doing, start preparing for the future for next year. Maybe on the run up to the winter period, you should have a campaign on maintenance, doing maintenance indoors, doing some decorating, some hanging some doors, or doing some painting, or just doing some general maintenance. Is a good thing to do. And even if that campaign that you runs over and the customer says to you, look, can you come and do some work? You say, well, no, I'm sorry, it's the summertime, but I'm more than happy to look at it in the winter. If they say no, they say no, but they will get used to it and they will remember it, okay? They may not necessarily be happy at the time. So think about that as structuring your business, that you have these campaigns that you run maybe from midsummer or late summer, autumn, ready for the winter, and saying that you're taking on maintenance work for the winter period. Think of that. That's a good way of doing it, and I don't know what your opinions about this, John Ward, Justin, if you're still there, but I think it's a great idea. Mike Staples says, I hate working in the rain, especially first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's all right when it's heat, when you're going all day in it, and towards the end of the day it's not so bad, but when you get there first thing, it's not a good thing. Sick of Life says, just popped to say hello, got to get to work, now helping my mate renovate his new house for a few days. Good for you, son, and it's good to help your mates out. John Ward says, we being builders are very lucky, so plan our work to suit the climate, but you need clients that are prepared to wait. That's the key. Yeah, you do, and that's what I was talking about. If you had a campaign of getting ready for the winter that you're talking about, maybe doing some maintenance work at a later date, start your campaign a little bit earlier. I don't know what you actually think, John, about when they should start that campaign, but I think it would work, and I think that you may get smaller jobs and quicker jobs doing this maintenance stuff, but I think it will keep you going. And the other thing, of course, is that if you're diversifying, you're doing a bit of maintenance work, your landscaping work then will really take off, because you'll get an influx of people that will want the work. Just try and balance out, try and study and structure what you're actually doing a little bit more. It's the attention to detail in everything we do from day to day. John Ward says, I've never washed my clothes in public. Use our utility room. Yeah, absolutely. John, you need to ask your wife for her opinion, whether you should have said that or not. John, we always used to do RSJ works, etc., and internals and extensions. Maybe a good idea to get back on it, Justin. Didn't we say you were... Any less money? The ambulance ladies, the paramedics are now going. I can hear it in the background. Mario Ritchie says, what are the paramedics doing in your house, doing to your grandson, John? Well, he wasn't very well this morning. We called 111, and 111 we called, not 999. And because they're local to where we are, they got sent out. He was poorly. They got sent out. They've gone through everything. So they've done a great job, and all is good. So touch wood. Nuttall Landscapes, Landscape Survival's motto is good to help your mates. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Do you know, I go off track sometimes because people talk about all sorts of things and ask questions. Fitting kitchens at the moment, says Mike Stapleton. Brilliant. Mike, you can come and fit a kitchen for me if you like. Hi, Justin. RSJs used by us every few do it. As many as have lost their skills, pal. I can't cope with building controls, new laws, or don't know them. They mess up. Gareth Williams says, I'm currently working on in Sale, Manchester. That's south of Manchester, I believe, isn't it, Gareth? He's working in Sale, Manchester, and the neighbour of my client spent £120,000 on landscaping last year, and the standards isn't great. We're back to it, aren't we? We're back to it. Let's just read what Gareth actually says there, and stay with us at the moment. 21 likes, 19 viewers. Gareth says, look, listen to this. Listen to this. Let me read it out to you. Gareth Williams, Hulk, up there in Manchester, he says, I'm currently working in Sale, Manchester, south of Manchester, and the neighbour of my client spent £120,000. £120,000 on landscaping last year, and the standards isn't great. That's where we are at the moment. I will tell you the reason that a lot of people don't join this podcast is because they're busy. They're good landscapers. They don't need to, and they're busy doing other things. But there's a lot of landscapers who won't join this live stream because they don't want to learn, and they're going to stay in that same place. And it's amazing when you see the amounts of money being spent on gardens. And I suggest, and I've spoke about this so many times, I really believe, wow, says Mike, 120,000. I really believe that probably 90% of gardens in the country of landscaping work is probably done bad, and I think, do we say 50% is good? Even if we looked at 50%, and that would be being generous, I think, and because there's simply because the amounts of people that fall into the landscaping business, and I think the amount of good work is quite a low percentage. What's your opinion? That's what I want to know. What is your opinion this morning? Just to let you know, okay, I've got this on because I've been out. I've had a leaky radiator this morning, and I've come back, and then we had the ambulance on the drive, and so I've been running around. I have cleaned my teeth. I haven't brushed my hair, but I've been down B&Q getting some parts, and then I come back to the live stream, meeting all you guys on here this morning. Justin from Brickwright says, John, we used to use loads of RSJ's work, extension, etc., but my business now has just gone to landscaping, which is partly due to me. Dealing with all the trades was stressful, so I changed direction. I understand that when you concentrate on one thing, it just, I don't know, it helps, doesn't it? You know, it just helps to get rid of all the other stuff when you're just, you know, it's just, you're bespoke about what you're doing, you're specialised in what you're doing. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with actually sort of tailoring your business for certain times of the year to actually do some indoor work. Mario Ritchie says the biggest job we did this year was 46,000. Took us up 2 months. Yeah, do you know, and you don't necessarily end up earning any extra money because you're doing those big projects. And for some you do, for some you don't. Sometimes the small jobs are better. What we do on this channel, we all come together and we're trying to work out what is best for us to do in everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. And we're getting there. We're sharing our information on this community. But what I need your help. I need some feedback on how we process and how we proceed rather with these live feeds, because you know we can talk about one thing, but I guarantee you somebody will ask a question about something else. So it has to be easy, it has to be upbeat, it has to be positive, and we are going to have those negative moments. But what we got to do is we got to help each other and share the information. This is a platform, a portal to get your information out there. So it's up to you to make sure that you actually share. Jem says you are only as good as your last job. You need to keep the standards top rate and not cut corners. Yeah, I would say, Jem, I would say you're never as good as your last. You're only as good as your job you're on, because you're moving on, aren't you? You've got to get better at what you're doing, I suppose. I don't know, what's your opinion on that? Hi all, I'd much prefer 4 small jobs than 1 big job. There we are. This is about opinions. This live feed is about opinions. Well, I've really enjoyed this morning, and normally I keep going for the hour, and it's not because I haven't got the energy for it this morning, but I want to get back to see how my grandson is because of the ambulance. The paramedics have actually gone there this morning, so don't panic. It's not. I'm not doing it for drama. Mario Ritchie says, quite wrong, John. The smaller jobs can make more profit. They can, you know. I just think it's how productive you are. Hey, on another thing, okay, on another thing, employing people. Got to make sure when we're employing people. Just read what people says there. Thanks, Dale McGuire. Thanks, John. Dale, nothing. My pleasure at all. I don't know what I've done, mate. Gareth says I was asked to look at the job as the client thought it was amazing, and I couldn't believe it's brush and grout. Yeah, I've used brush and grout. And I think there's a way of doing it, and I think how the manufacturers tell you to use the brush and grouts. I really appreciate it because there's something that you've just reminded me of. I think when we look at those brush and grouts and you look at the little samples on the desk in the merchants over the counter, I think if you can get your brush and grout as hard as that, I think it's okay. But they put too much water in it, and I don't think it's good at all. And there's so many patios that are being used, the brush and grouts are being used on, and it's not good at all. And I think it's about time that some of the manufacturers need to be a bit more accountable and understanding their own products. And I'm just perplexed that people produce products and they don't really understand it themselves. And having all that copious amounts of water in a brush and grout is just not good. And I'm going to say this, you know, when it gets brought up, like Gareth says there, I will pass an opinion on this because I think it's really important. You know, brush and grouts are okay if they're compacted and it has compressive strength, if it's absolutely solid. And there's ways of doing it, but what they don't want, the manufacturers don't want, looks like I'm having a cup of tea at some point, the kettle's going on, and a big smile then, so always looking good. Was my daughter then, and always looking good with my grandson, Marley, and so we can remain optimistic. So we're talking about brush and grouts. I don't think brush and grouts are good unless you can actually get it like the sample that they show you and they showcase in the builders merchants and they send out to you. I think that they are really poor the way they are installed. I think, as I said, if it's done in a certain way, it works right. And I've always compacted it massively. I've probably done 1 or 2 patios where I've done what the manufacturers told me to do, what it says on the can, use copious amounts of water to make sure you avoid the staining. The thing is, when we're grouting any patio, you're going to have the potential of taking a risk when you're grouting those patios. Just going to, oh, here's my mate James, and he is my mate. James, I've got loads of stuff I'm sending out. This is just a reminder, this is to James Sharp. It's going in one of those boxes and he's going to get it. James, good to see you, mate. We talked about all sorts of things this morning. I'm not sure whether the visual this morning is getting out good. The signal is quite poor this morning. I don't know if it's through the weather, but good to see you, James. We're talking about all sorts of things. Chris Stockin says, finding quality suppliers that care about the products. We used a newish place last year as they had lower prices, but their service was a shambles and we're slagging off other merchants. Not good. Not good. This is what we're talking about this morning. You don't slag off. This is a horrible word. It's a horrible word to use. Slag off other competitors is not good at all. Our work is all planned. I love what Gareth and everybody's input this morning is absolutely amazing. And just don't listen to me. Read what people are actually saying. Get on this live feed and actually read what people are saying, because then you start gauging and understanding how people feel about certain things. And Chris Stocking will read what Chris says there again. So important to read and send this message out. He says, finding quality suppliers that care about the products. We used the newest place last year and they had lower prices, but their service was a shamble and were slagging off other merchants. Bad, not a good thing to do. But what Chris has done there, he hasn't even mentioned who it was, okay? He hasn't even mentioned who it was. I was asked once by a company that I supported, and it was Aspects from Ipswich. They actually said to me, they said, John, I've been slagging their product off. And I said, no, I haven't slagged off a product. I was asked what I thought of the product that I actually used. Not a brush and grout, it was Back to Black. Somebody asked me on an open forum, it's there, it's evidence out there, it's in the public domain. Somebody asked me what I actually thought of it, and I said it was great for 3 weeks. That was it. That's all I said. Didn't slag it off. I couldn't say it was good because I'd be lying. I couldn't say it lasted because I was lying. I was stating a fact. The fact is, and it still remains, it was good for 3 weeks. And it did look good, okay? But it didn't last. It soon dulled off. I had to tell the truth. I had to tell the truth. I wasn't going to lie about it. Is brush and grouts good? If it's done in a certain way. But they don't like you to do it in the way that I want to do it. Because they want it to be easy in the respect. I'm not just talking about aspects. I'm not talking about jointed. I'm not talking about all those other companies that use those brush and grouts. Like, we're not going to get onto that. That's not what it's about. It's about just being honest. Okay, that's what it's about. Chris Dawkins says, random comment, but listen, our wives, their words are like a good pruning cut. Hurts at first, but in the long run, you'll be fruiting. Brilliant, love it. James Sharp said, I wish I had time to take notice what my competitors are doing. Too busy grafting on, John. Yeah, that's what we do. We don't worry about anybody else. We just do our thing, okay? If it just so happens that people come along and talk to us, and other competitors, absolutely great. Talk to your other landscaper. The thing is, the reason I run that landscape forum on Facebook is that I want to bring landscapers together. If you look at a lot of the forums out there, I mean, it's really bad out there. It's absolutely brutal. And even for me, as an ex-young soldier, I think I don't even want to be part of all that. I don't even want to get involved in it. John Ward says 30%, if that, from what I see. There we are. I agree, John Ward. Good staff is what needs professionals. You pay good, charge well. As the key, stay away from price wars. Yeah, don't get involved in that auction room about prices, and that's what happens about prices per square meter. You need to identify where you are as a business. We'll talk about this again. And we will. We'll talk about all these things again, but it gets brought up. We're having conversation. It's like being in a pub now, isn't it? And with other guys doing what you do, and we're all sharing and we're all talking about different things, and the same things come up each week, and it does, every time the same topics, and we're going to repeat that. But don't get involved in those auction rooms about prices per square meter. You need to identify what your outgoings is first. As a business, you need to identify your outgoings. Thank you very much. I've had a cup of tea brought to me by my daughter. Cheers. Thank you very much. They're eating Danish pastries this morning. Cheers. That's the second one I've had this morning. The first one was actually cold. Just put it on here because you'll tell me off about putting on the oak desk here. Moving on now. Mario Rich said the truth hurts sometimes. Yeah, it does, Mario. And I know what you're referring to, but you just got to be honest. I'm doing this YouTube account to bring people together, so I learn from you guys, and you guys learn from the other guys that are on here. And you can see how it all works. Relationships are built on this community. It's almost like Tinder, okay? I wish I earned the money like Tinder. Top Notch says, good morning, John. Sorry I'm late. No problem at all, Top. We've been talking about all sorts of things this morning. Got to dip out again. Busy day at home. Take care. James, no problem at all. Catch 22. I hate pricing work. Measures out. Work out materials. Price to not get the job. Takes up so much time, precious time. It doesn't have to, though, does it really, in some respect? When we get to a point when we've been in the business for years, we can engage a job, but you still need to measure. You need to get through it. You just need to do it. That's what we need to do, Catch 22. You need to do it, mate. Just get on with it. And I understand how you feel, but I've got an Alison now, and Alison does all that for me. I just go out and I measure. I give her the information, the relevant information, but I still got to be precise and concise with the actual measurements. I'm getting back to it to make sure that it's actually, we do what we say we're going to do, and we're pricing in the right way. Be nice to clients' work will follow. Mike Stapleton says, Catch 22, charge and add it to the quote. Yeah, absolutely. There's another way of doing it. Just exactly what I do. Guys, we've hit the hour mark. We're on it. Do you want a meetup? If you do want a meetup, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to share it on the forum that I run. It's going to be solely for you guys. If you've got an opinion about that, I know that Balladistas in Stoke-on-Trent are more than happy to have a meetup. And if you guys, it'd be great at some point, maybe it'd be great to meet some of you and just have a pint or have a cold drink, a soft drink, and have something to eat, and we can chew the fat as such. I hope it's not in one of those restaurants where they serve all fat, but we can talk about anything, and we can have a meetup. It'd be good to sort of get on board. If you want to send me a picture this morning, what you're doing, where you are, where you're from, whatever you're doing, I don't really care whether you're sat in your underwear like Justin and Mario Rizzi is at the moment, because that's what I do. Let's have a look. It's 07795 I got it wrong. 07795 595 994. There's the number there. Have a look. Send me a picture on WhatsApp. I want to see what you're doing. Mario says, Bal will be good for me. Chris Stockin says, yes. Chris, whereabouts are you? Whereabouts are you across the country? I want to know where you are. But Balladistas are in Stoke, or maybe, I don't know, they want to have a training day. You pick the area. I've got loads of ideas. Let us know what it is. You have to understand that the ground is dependent on the sub base. Reps will say, sell you anything as regards to brush and grade, but not ask your base. Yeah, you need, if you're using a brush and grade, you need a permeable base. And somebody told me this week that MOT has a high porosity, and it doesn't. Okay, it just doesn't. Chris Stockin says, mighty wolves, Black Country, is it, Chris? Quarry Bonk, Bright Hill, mighty wolves. Yeah, it'd be brilliant. Listen, guys, let's have that meetup. Let's do it for this particular group of guys that are actually on here. If you want to have a meetup and we can meet at Balladistas and see what they had to say on the day, go along there, talk to them. We don't have to agree with everything they say, but they have got some good stuff on there, and we can just go and see what they're doing, and we can share some stuff on social media, and we can have a bite to eat. We can have a cold beer, a soft drink, cup of coffee, cup of tea, a slow gin, I don't care, whatever you want to do, but we can have that meetup and we can get together eventually. That's it. Saturday morning live is done and dusted. If you've got any opinions on anything or anybody, don't slate people off in a public domain. It's not a good thing to do. And what I'm going to be doing later on, I'm going to be blocking that guy, or do I block him? But do I take my comment down? I said he's pathetic. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining, and see you soon. Just send me some pictures. info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk, or you can send me a picture on the WhatsApp. There you are. There it is. We're here. We're here to help. Also, to the consumer, if the consumer is watching, this channel is for you as well. It's not just for a contractor. If you need any advice or support in some way, just give me a call on my number, or go to the website www.greentoplandscapes.co.uk, and we'll see what we can do for you. Just going to read what Robert Beatty says. Off to meet a client now to do through a quote. I'll catch up with you soon, John. Still licking my wounds after underestimating on a job before Christmas, so need to allow enough time. Rob, if you want to have a chat, give us a chat. Let me help you. Let me support you. Let's get you on the right road. Good luck next week, all. Yeah, thanks, Justin. Good luck, everyone. Stay safe and just wrap it warm. See you soon. Grandson time. See you. All the best. Bye-bye. Ta-ra, Dale.